Good evening everyone, welcome to Microsoft Excel Trainers. In today's video we're going to be showing you Personal Finance Excel template version 2.0. Before I proceed, I want to thank all the subscribers of our version 1 template. Thank you guys. It's been overwhelming to have the response from you guys in terms of such high volumes, and we look forward to hearing all your comments, hearing all your suggestions in terms of improving or incorporating in our future templates. Before I proceed again, to all our version 1 subscribers and paid users, version 2 is going to be coming up with a free upgrade. Thank you. It's just a small gratitude that we wanted to give you guys for the support that you've shown us. Alright, so hearing to the suggestions, in this template we have gone ahead in terms of incorporating mutual funds and stocks. In our future versions we're going to be having NPS and other financial tools as well being added. But before I proceed, for people who are there for the first time or looking into our template, this is Personal Finance Excel template, which helps you to monitor all your investments on various instruments, and what is the future price of those, and what are the possibility of you meeting your financial goals based on your requirement. So these are the various instruments as of now which is covered. The ones which are in green is what is going to be covered in this template. So we're covering Provident Fund, Public Provident Fund, fixed deposits, recurring deposits, Sukanya Samriddhi account, mutual funds and stocks. Alright, now before we proceed in terms of entering our investment information, it's important that we need to enter our family details. Family details should contain your name, date of birth and relation. You can define under the relation section what are the various relationships that you would like to monitor. For example, I have captured myself, spouse, daughter 1, daughter 2, son 1, son 2. In case you have 2 daughters, 2 sons, this is all just for us to have a better understanding of the template. Then investments for my father, mother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and what are my goal masters. I would like to have my investments for my retirement, investments for my education, investments for my kids' education, investment for my kids' marriage. I would like to have a world tour done. I would like to create an emergency corpus. I would like to create emergency corpus for my kids, and I would like to do various certifications for which I have captured it. Alright, so I'll take you through in terms of how to go about filling each of these, but prior to this I would like to look at each of our instruments so that you could have an understanding. So first I would like to have the mutual funds covered. So in this you basically capture the employer information, the contribution of your Provident Fund, what is your basic and voluntary PF contribution, and it tells you based on your retirement date what's the value that you're going to have precisely. That's the beauty of this template. Similarly, we have it for Public Provident Fund, we have it for Sukanya Samriddhi, fixed deposits and recurring deposits, mutual funds. This is mutual fund transaction sheet. This is my stock investment and my stock transaction. Right. To have a faster approach to this, I have already had the data filled in a template, so I would like to just go about introducing that. So under my introduction, I've captured all my family details here. Right, I've captured myself, name is Ram, my wife, spouse Sita, my 2 daughters Priya and Neha, then my parents, then my son. Again, I don't have 3 kids, but this is just for you guys to have an understanding of the template. And here I have captured against each of the members what are the various financial goals. So against each of the goals we need to be giving a short form, right? For instance, Ram retirement I captured as a Ram Red. So this primarily is to help us to have a better look of our dashboard, right? Age or desired age by when we would like to have that specific corpus created. For example, my date of birth is 1st of January 1980. So at the age of 59, I would like to have my retirement, right? So in today's world, if you have a 2 crore of corpus at the time of retirement, assuming that you're going to get an annual 8% of FD, right, which is going to be about 16 lakhs, so which is going to help you to maintain a decent lifestyle, right? So I've taken that, but by the time I'm going to be 59, based on the inflation, so the actual requirement amount is 6 crore 29 lakhs 85,931, right? So let's say I change this and say I want to retire at the age of 50, right? So which means to say it's 3 crore and 72 lakhs 81,272 is all that's required for me, right? So let me put this back to 59, right? Similar way, I've defined various goals. Retirement goal for my wife, educational goals for my daughter, marriage goals for my daughter. Then I would like to go on a world tour. Then education and marriage goals for my son, right? Now before we proceed to the dashboard, right, let's move ahead in terms of entering our Provident Fund information, right? So to begin with, first you got to select the name of the contributor. So in this case it's my name. Let's say I change this to my wife's name, right? So the template automatically shares 1st of January 1982. So my wife's date of birth is 1st of January 1982, right? And the retirement age is 60, right? So I need to go back and make that change. So we're going to look at 60 is the retirement, right? At the age of 60, which is going to be 31st of December 2041. Now I'm sure each of you should be having a contribution towards Provident Fund with your respective organizations that you work for, right? So at this point in time, if you're going to start calculating from January 2019, you can define whatever time period that you would like to maintain. I would like to start from January 2019, or let's say we're going to start from April 2019, right? So it starts changing automatically. You could look at your current Provident Fund passbook and enter these values as to what are the corpus that you have accumulated as of 31st of March 2019. Since I'm starting from April 2019, 1st of April 2019, what are the corpus that you have created under the employee contribution? What are the corpus that you have created for employee contribution, and what is the amount that's there under the pension scheme, right? So now here I've defined, right, you could change the organization that you're working for. Let's say Wipro, right? I'm going to be contributing 12% of my basic, and let's say my basic is a lakh, right? And with a voluntary contribution of 5,000. Let's say I'm not interested in doing this 5,000 voluntary contribution, right? Let me delete this all. I'll re-show it to you again. Right. All right. So as of April, right? Let's say I'm working with Wipro. It can be any organization, guys. All right. Now there are two aspects to it. Your PF is either contributed on 12% of your basic or 12% of 15,000. In my case, 12% of basic. And let's say my basic is 50,000, and let's say I have a voluntary contribution of 4,000 done every month. Let's say I lose my job end of April 2019, right? By the time I retire, which is going to be 60, right, the amount that's going to be in my kitty is 35,98,189 under the employer contribution, 35,60,887 under the employer contribution, 4,32,138 under the pension scheme. So which gives me a total accumulation value of 75,91,214, right? So this is my dashboard, right? So you look into it, my retirement, it says under the PF 75 lakh 91,214, right? Let's say April, I'm still continuing with Wipro, right? And as we keep adding our respective months, our values keep enhancing. Keep a watch on the total value, right? And now before I enter the June values, as of May, if I quit, it's going to be 77 lakh 4,082 rupees, which is going to be in my account, right? If I add my July value, that's going to change to 78 lakhs 16,143. So this gives you a kind of gauge as to, you know, by what time or what are the value that's going to be there at the time of retirement, right? Now you would like to, now we have also, the way the template is designed is based on your retirement date, the end date is also captured, right? So if I keep scrolling down, right, I keep scrolling down, yeah, right? So we're going to retire as of December 31st 2041, right? Now let's me assume that I'm going to be working with Wipro until then, right? And I'm going to be having the same 12% of basic salary going in there, and my basic to be the same, right? And I'm also having a voluntary contribution of 4,000 done, right? Voluntary contribution, again, it can be done by you or it may not be. It can be, it's a self contribution, right? For in this case, just for understanding purpose, I've also taken into consideration, right? So if I continue, the corpus that's going to be created at the time of retirement is 2 crore 11 lakh 26,474, right? So this way you can keep a track of your PF, Provident Fund. Let's assume that I don't have any voluntary contribution, right? So straight away there is a drop of close to about 50 lakhs, which is coming up to 1 crore 77 lakh 14,238 to be the value in my Provident Fund at the time of retirement, right? So this is the way you want to keep your tag of Provident Fund moving forward. Public Provident Fund, right, which is PPF. You can open it either through SBI and of any of your banks that you have. So I've got two PPF accounts, one for me and mom, one for my wife. So we started off 1st of January 2010, right? So in this section I need to enter the start date of when the PPF account was opened, and also the financial year of the same, and what's the period for which I'm going to be investing, whether it's going to be for 20 years, right, or 25 years, right? So 25 years I'll keep it, right? So that's going to be till, for in my case, it's going to be, contribution is going to go until 1st of January 2035. In the case of my wife, it's going to be 1st of January 2037, right? So now I've entered the contribution that we have done over the years against me and against my wife, right? So based on the investments, right, based on the tenure that we are looking at, a period of 25 years, right, by the time the maturity, the date comes in as of 1st of January 2035, the total corpus that is created is 67 lakh 23,235, right? So this gives you a kind of an understanding as to what's the total amount that's going to be there at the time of retirement, right? Let's say I did not invest from 2015, right? I deleted. So my total investments is only 9 lakhs, right? Let's do a calculation. Can you see this? 9 lakhs. So based on 9 lakhs that I've invested, right, at the time of my maturity, I'm going to be having 46 lakh 62,452, right? So Pretty interesting and pretty fascinating tool that will actually help you to keep complete hold of your financial goals and how close are you in reaching that, right? If you've got two Sukanya Samriddhi accounts open for my kids, for my daughters, right? Sukanya Samriddhi primarily is for the marriage, right? So I've captured the daughter's name, right? And I also have tagged against their goal, which is there for their marriage, right? Now the start date is 1st of January 2015, so the financial year of that was 2014, right? So anything prior to March will be the previous year. For example, let's say I started this 1st of April 2015, so then this will be 2015 to be the financial year, right? So here I'm capturing 1st of January 2015, so the financial year is going to be 2014, right? Now Sukanya Samriddhi has got a capping that the investments can be done until the age of 14 years, right? So this is going to be the end of investments, right? 14 years to 1st of January 2011, right? And 2025 is going to be the year of maturity, right? So I've captured here the values. 1st of Jan 2015, right? It's going to be the amount. Let's say I've invested only for 2 years, for example, right? So against to 4,50,000. By the time the maturity period comes in, it's going to be 15,65,838, which is going to be in my daughter's account, right? So let me do this for 2018, 1st of Jan 2019, and I've invested 1,50,000. Same thing goes with my second daughter, right? So by the time the maturity comes in, the total corpus created is 24,14,722 for my daughter 1, and for my second daughter it's going to be 21,74,349. So this gives you an understanding as to what's the money that you're going to have, so that any kind of apprehension that you have in terms of money that you've saved for, is it adequate for your kids or not, is going to get answered on this. Moving forward, fixed deposits and recurring deposits, right? I've got 2 fixed deposits against my daughter's name, right? So I've captured the name, right? We can also capture the principal value. Let's say the principal value is 2 lakhs, right? And the rate of interest, let's say 6.5%, right? Let me change 6.5%, right? And I'm going to capture it for a period of 5 years, right? Oops, I'm so sorry. 2 lakhs, right? So the maturity value at the end of 5 years is going to be 2,76,084 rupees, whereby I've earned an interest of 76,084, right? With my interest being paid out quarterly. Let's say I have an annual interest being paid out, then my interest that I've earned is 74,017, so making the maturity value of 2,74,017. So I change this back to 5 lakhs, which is the value. So at the end of 5 years, or let's say I'm going to keep this for 20-year period. So at the end of 20 years, it's going to be 17,61,823, which is going to be in my daughter's account. Similar way is recurring deposits, right? You choose the account holder, the day when you started, what's the monthly investment, what's the rate of interest, right? Let's say the rate of interest is 6.5%, and I'm going to be doing it for 120 months, which is 10 years. Then the maturity value is going to be 8,42,016 rupees, whereby I've earned an interest of 2,42,015 rupees against my total investment. All right. So this is fixed deposits and recurring deposits. Coming to mutual funds, right? This is basically the mutual fund dashboard, right? And here is my transaction, right? So each of my investments at the time when I've bought in, what is the value? So let's say I bought in an SBI blue chip fund today, right? I bought 1,000 units, right? Today SBI mutual fund is running at 39 rupees 21 pice, right? So 39.21, and I bought it on 15th April 2019, right? So my value, the total number of units, gets automatically added on this particular transaction, right? So each and every mutual fund that you're investing, and it will automatically start adding up the values here. Now against each of the investments that you do, you can also allocate percentages against various goals. For example, Access Long-Term Equity Fund Growth, I have allocated 100% of the value to go under my retirement scheme. SBI Blue Chip, I have allocated 100% to go to my spouse retirement. The balance two schemes that I am investing, I have allocated 20% against each of my 20% for my retirement, 20% for my wife's spouse retirement, 20% for my daughters and son's education, right? I can also change this now to 20% to their marriage, right? And as I keep allocating the funds, this will keep reducing, so you know as to how much you got to allocate. Let me do this for you. Look at this, the balance is 0. So now let's say I add only 50% for my retirement for the long-term equity growth fund. So it says balance of 50%, so covered in terms of allocating another 50% to my spouse retirement. So what happens is this transpires in my dashboard, right? We'll come to the dashboard. I just want to finish the mutual funds. Same thing goes with stocks, right? These are my couple of stocks that I bought, the date of purchase, right? You'll be able to choose whether you bought, sell, you had any bonus shares allocated to you, you had any splits or stocks being split, any allocation that have happened against it, right? For example, right, Reliance stock, which I bought it in 2004 at a value of 100 rupees, right? I'm sorry, 100 units at a price of 110. I received bonuses twice, right? Once in 2009, second is in 2017, right? So my total holding has got changed here, right? Similar way is what would happen to all of this, right? All right. So you will be able to select stocks, and you will be able to capture the details. Now each of these investments transpire into a dashboard data. So we have captured a data table here, right? So in this table you will be able to see in terms of numbers as to against each of the goals, right, what is the percentage of shortfall that you have, right? For example, against the current investments that I've done, right, I see a shortfall of about 66% against my goal, right? So I need to see as to which are the various areas where I can enhance my investment. For example, let me go back to mutual funds, right? Let's say I delete all of this and I say 100% goes into my retirement kitty, right? So my entire allocation gets into this, so hence my percentage has fallen down. So this gives you a broadly complete understanding as to where you're investing, how much more you need to invest, whether you need to be worried, you don't have to be worried, right? It gives you a complete picture. Plus this demography also tells you in terms of the numbers which are there in terms of a graphical representation. Here it tells you as to against each goal what is your current achievement and what is the percentage of shortfall. It tells you in terms of allocation of debt versus market investments. This in terms of numbers, right? What is a percentage here? It gives out in terms of numbers. various instruments in which you've invested and where is the values going through, and your current investment spread through in terms of debt and market through, right, against each of those. The same graph, which is my debt and market, is portrayed in a line graph. This you can further filter it out and look into it. For example, let's say my retirement, right? So when I click on my retirement, I see that okay, I have a 34% of achievement against a 65% of a shortfall. It also tells me as to which are the various instruments where I've invested, right? Let me clear this. Let me do for my spouse. Yeah, so my spouse retirement, it's only 7% which is achieved against and there's a shortfall of 92%, right? So this is the current investments where it is, and this is the shortfall that is there. All right, so this primarily helps you to have a complete understanding. So I think this will surely help you to gauge and have a complete understanding of how your financial goals can be achieved. Do click on the below link to get a copy of the template, and thank you for listening to us, and